Hey folks, it's Mangrel. Welcome back to the channel, and we're looking at this product here. This is the EMAX FPV combo. It's called the EZ Pilot Pro, and what EMAX has done is they put together this package, and it's supposed to be primarily for newcomers to the hobby, so you get all the various pieces in this really nice package. So I'm excited to get in there and see what exactly it's all about and what you actually get in the package. Now, this was sent to me by Banggood, so if you are interested in this product, please make sure to use the link in the video description. It goes a long way to making sure that I can continue working with Banggood on reviews such as this. So let me go ahead and open it up and we'll see what exactly it comes with. I can tell you it feels really heavy and sturdy, so I'm excited to get in there. Here's how it looks like. Everything is nicely laid out, well protected, so you know it'll arrive in one piece. So let's take a look at the main guy first. So this is the quad itself, and it's got a little sticker on there. Let's remove that sticker. We want maximum aerodynamics. It comes with a battery pre-installed, and let's see what kind of battery we've got. So this battery here is a 1-cell 80C. Wow, that's a high-performing battery, 450 milliamp hour. So you probably want to pick up more of these batteries because I suspect this will probably give us 2 minutes of flight time, and we do want to fly more than 2 minutes. We'll come back and look at this in a second. Okay, so we've got a USB charger. So this is good. As a beginner, I probably don't have my own fancy charger, so I can just plug this right into any USB device, and I can charge 6 batteries at once. So that's really good. I've got 4 extra props. I have some stickers. So that's awesome. All right, and that's the first level. Let's get down to the second level. And in the second level, we've got, okay, so that's good. QR code for the manual. Oh, this product is not suitable for people under the age of 18. Adult supervision is highly recommended. So that's a nice little warning there, just to make sure we're flying this in a respectful kind of manner. Okay, so a little bit of warnings here, and this is great. So they tell you which of these switches does what, because we do need to make sure that we know which switch actually arms the quad, which disarms, and what all these different buttons do. Oh, that doesn't sound too good. Yeah, so unfortunately it looks like we've lost our switches. So somehow during shipment, the 2 switches at the very top have broken. Yeah, that's very unfortunate. And I suspect that's what these guys are. So I do see 2 dents in the box, and it looks like the switches are kaput. So I will open this up and see if I can somehow get this going, because I suspect this is our arm switch. But otherwise, the remote feels pretty good. Yeah, so it's getting caught up. Okay, so I'll have to open this up, see what I can do there. All right, we got the goggles itself. So there's the goggles, and the cool thing with the goggles is the front detaches. So you can actually use this as a standalone display, or you put it into the goggles and you get a goggle FPV sort of experience. So you have those 2 options. We'll try the fit and finish of this in a second. Okay. That's nice. So you get little screwdriver, some miscellaneous screws, USB cable, perfect. Okay, and I'm guessing this is to connect the goggles over to the controller. And then we've got the antenna. Now looking at the quad itself, this looks like it's been very well put together. I like how the motors use connectors. So these little quick connectors here. If a motor does fail, we can very easily change that out. I see the camera has decent angle. So the camera here, you can see, you can adjust, is it straight like this? Is it angled like this? And typically the more angle you've got on the camera, the faster you're gonna go. Because if you think about the quad itself, the quad's going to be angled forward like this as it moves. So you want to have it so that the camera is straight based off of how fast you're going to go. So it's got good angle on there now. Now I'm going to use this inside the house. So let me just pull it down a little bit more. So I'm going to go pretty straight, almost 0-degree angle. What else? Our USB connector for the computer is pretty easily accessible. So I most likely will have to use that to redo the switch assignments because I don't have these two switches anymore. These guys broke in transit. So I'll have to do some configuration there. Otherwise, it does look like it's been put together very, very well. I see the antenna itself are tucked in here. So I'm not sure how much range we're going to get. But again, this is something you'll be flying pretty close to you inside the house. It's very, very light. So the antenna being tucked here rather than having it come out the top here should be fine. It's not a big deal. And the soldering looks pretty good. I took the controller apart and it looks like the switches are completely shot. I did take all the loose pieces out, so you see no more loose shaky pieces to short circuit. So now I'm just checking the gimbals themselves to see if we have any adjustability. And it looks like on these ones we don't, but on this one, it looks like we can adjust how loose or tight the throttle is. So right now, if you look at this, you can see how loose that throttle is. So I'm going to go ahead and just tighten that throttle down a little bit. So I do like the fact that we do have that adjustability. Just going to tighten this a little bit and then try again. Yeah, that to me feels a little bit better. Let me go a bit tighter. And this is all just pure personalizations and preferences. So I think that's probably good. So now I'll go ahead and put this controller back together. Now on the computer, you want to go ahead and get a software called Betaflight Configurator. I will give you the link to that software in the video description. And that software lets you view and modify all the configuration that is on the flight controller. So the flight controller is the brains pretty much of this drone. So once we have the software installed, we'll go ahead and plug our USB cable right into here. And you'll see that the lights will flash. And once this happens, we should be able to see a communication port show up here. So you can see for me, it says COM13. Yours will be probably a different number. Once that happens, we'll click on connect. And here we can see that the computer is now registering everything that the drone is doing. So at this point, we can go ahead and turn our controller on as well. So we'll just hold down the power button. And the controller should connect up to the drone. There's no need to plug the drone in, just having the USB power is enough. So now here we can see all the configurations. So under the ports tab, not much to do here, it's all set up already. Under configurations, again, everything here is set up properly. We could modify the name of the drone if we like, so something personal we could put on there if you want. So again, nothing much to do here. Power and battery, so we can see what the minimum voltages are set to. So we'll get warnings within our on-screen display within the goggles or on the actual video transmission that tells us, hey, your battery's getting too low or bad things are about to happen. I'm going to raise this warning to 3.5 and then just click on save. Out of curiosity, let me see how these rates look like. So yeah, these are pretty slow rates. I'm used to something a lot faster, and these rates determine how quickly the actual quad ends up moving around. So this is 400 degrees per second. I typically run around 680, 700, which is fine. This is an indoor quad, so we don't have to worry about that. Under receiver, so here we can see as we move the sticks, our little graphic here actually also kind of mimics what's happening. So this is all working fine. Here is where we can find out which of these switches are which auxiliary. So we can see auxiliary 1 is this guy here. Auxiliary 2 is this guy here. And I'm guessing 3 is the one up here that is broken, and that's probably 4. So I have to work with these two here. And the main thing I want to check is this guy here, so modes. So I can see auxiliary 1 is the mode. So right now, if I push this all the way down, the quad will arm, so the motors will spin. All the way up is this arm. And then this guy here, determines our mode. This is horizon mode, and I don't know what this one is. Okay, so that's fine. So the ones that we've lost are beeper. So that is what will actually cause the quad to make a little beeping sound when it's crashed or you've lost it. And then flip over crash. So these two are not too important. So the fact that I don't have these, that's fine. The other thing I want to modify here would be my on-screen display. I don't need the name of the craft there, so I'll just turn it off. Here is fly mode. So yeah, that's fine. What is this? This is RSSI value. Yeah, that's fine. Leave that there. What is this one? VTX channel. Yeah, so this is channel, band, channel, and power. So we'll leave that there. This is battery voltage. So that's fine. And this is timer 2. So what is timer 2? So timer 2. The timer 2 is total arm time. Okay, so that's perfectly fine. So this looks good. Just the one modification. I will save. Video transmitter. So we can see here it's set from the factory to use race band. So that's the R. Channel 4. Power is 25. So it looks like we can do 25, 100, and 200. So we can actually switch this up. The more power you have, of course, the longer range you also get. Before our first flight, we have to decide how we want to fly this EZ Pilot, because we can fly just like this, where we attach our display to the controller, or we can actually fly this with the goggles. So this actually connects the same display. It connects to the goggles using this magnetic mount. So just kind of connects like that, and then you can fly it using the goggles. And with the goggles, just make sure you set up your focus here. So it's got 3 settings for focus. And you can see I fly this with the furthest out setting. So I tried all 3, and the furthest out setting gives me the clearest image. So you can fly this both ways. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fly it using the attachment here first. And the reason why I'm doing that is because of the first biggest drawback to this system, and that is there is no DVR. So you cannot record what you end up seeing in the display. And that's a little bit unfortunate, because that is one of the biggest benefits of this hobby. You kind of execute this amazing trick, and then you can share that with your friends, your wife, your girlfriend, whatever. So unfortunately, you don't have the ability in this package. So a little bit unfortunate. So the only way that I can share what I'm seeing is to use this particular view right now. So I'll go ahead and I'll turn on the controller. I'll go ahead and I'll turn on the display. And this should all work right away. If you find that you're getting something like this, it's because your channel is incorrect. So you can see up here in the corner, I am on race band channel 8. So if that is not what your quad is set up with, you can just go ahead and push the C button, and the C button will cycle through the channels, and you can find the proper channel. You also have a automatic search button over here. You can push that, it'll cycle through so you can see which channel has video. So I've already done all this, so this should be good to go. So I'll go ahead and I'll just slide this battery in. I've already charged the battery up, and then I'll plug this in. And we can see that we are good to go. So I'm going to do this flight here in the basement. We are getting a crazy snowstorm. So this is what I'm going to do. I did make sure to unlock the VTX. So right now I'm running the VTX in 100 milliwatts. So that gives me a bit more range. So bear that in mind. And the way you actually do that unlock is you hold down the little button on the VTX while you plug the battery in, and that will unlock it. And like I showed you before, you can go in and modify the settings through this keystroke. You go like that, you go like that. The menu comes up and you can go ahead and modify the settings. So let me go ahead and exit from here. I am in, this is angle, horizon, and then air mode. So air mode is acro mode, which is the most sporty way, and this is what you do once you have a lot more experience flying. All right, let me go ahead and arm. Now usually my disarm switch is up here, so I can very easily get to it. This is a little bit unnatural, but I am missing buttons up here. All right, 1, 2, 3. See, it says I can't arm because my throttle's up, so throttle down. There we go, armed. All right, let's go. Oh, I ran into something. Yeah, so you can get a nice view of the basement here. Oh, ran into something. You can get a view of back of my head. Yeah, so it flies quite nicely. I'm not seeing too much distortion here. So you can see the laundry. So we'll keep that between you and I. We don't want the wife to know that you're seeing her laundry over here. Okay, so you can see you can go pretty fast within this acro or air mode. So we've gone now 1 minute. I'm still seeing pretty good battery life. It's pretty good. I'm not that far away from myself, so I'm not seeing too much breakup in the image. Now, of course, the image could be a little bit better, but we have to bear in mind what this guy is. This is a beginner drone, so it's to get you into the hobby. So we don't expect too much at this price point, but this looks pretty good. I'm seeing decent quality here. I'm seeing decent transmission. It is flying really, really well out of the box. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with this. So you can see I did turn on the warning, so I'm seeing low battery. So I've got this set up for, I believe, 3.5 to go low battery, and then 3.2, it's supposed to go into critical battery, which is land now. So let me go one more round, one more loop here. So we have been flying for 2 minutes. So I think we're probably gonna get maybe 2.5 minutes on one battery. So you definitely want to have more batteries because one is not enough. Can I fit through here? Yes. Oh no. All right, let me land. Now to wrap this up, let's talk about my final thoughts. I really enjoyed this guy, and I think it's an amazing all-in-one ready-to-fly package that helps get beginners into the hobby. It's very easy to fly. It also has an amazing manual that gives you a lot of troubleshooting steps, and a lot of the things we captured in this video, it is in the manual. So very happy with that. It's got very good components from the factory. So you can see it's got an F4 flight controller, decent camera, brushless motors, so they're more efficient, higher power as well. So everything just really well set up for this price point. It also gives you the option of flying with either this setup here or using the goggles. The goggles are decently comfortable. Funny enough, they're more comfortable than my $1,000 DJI goggles. So that's really good for a beginner to get into this and start to gain some experience. It gives you decent flight times now, 2 minutes and 27 seconds in that last flight. It doesn't sound like a lot, but in fact, 2 minutes on something this small is pretty decent. But make sure, of course, you get some additional batteries. It's also very durable, so I've been flying this now for several days. I've crashed into walls, I've crashed into the washing machine and all these things, and it still looks brand new. So very, very durable, and that's important as a kind of newcomer to the hobby. Now, a couple of things that I wish they would have done a little bit differently. First one is the broken remote. So we know on my remote here, I've got the 2 broken switches. Now I can't fault Banggood for that. This I think is maybe a little bit on the way it was packaged. Now the top of the remote doesn't have any kind of protective foam or anything that could have probably prevented this. Again, shipping damage happens from time to time, so I can't fault anyone too much for that. But I think that one additional step of the foam cover would have probably resolved that. The other piece is how the VTX comes locked. I think that should come unlocked so that you can get the advertised transmission power. Again, minor kind of things. Oh, it's warning me saying this is still on. Let's give it a little bit of movement here. Next one here, again, where we're nitpicking, the battery's a little bit loose. So I would have preferred it to be a bit tighter. You can put a little piece of foam here just to help lock it in a little bit. Again, minor thing. Also, the Lights on the charger is a little bit confusing. So the actual light, when you plug the battery in, the light turns green. Now to me, green means that it's fully charged, but in fact, green means it's charging. And when the light turns off, it means it's fully charged. Again, minor things that they could have probably made a little bit simpler for a beginner. Now, my biggest gripe with this and biggest unfortunate item, and you probably heard me mention this during the flight, is the lack of DVR. So typically on other kinds of quads and drones, you can record what you're seeing. So as I'm flying and I'm getting this particular view here, I can record this to an SD card and then I can share it out on my Instagram. I can send it to friends. Just helps with that kind of aspect of the hobby, the social aspect. Now this unfortunately does not have that. And that to me is the biggest negative. So if you're the kind of person who wants the ability of sharing things quickly to your friends and your family, then you'll have to bear that in mind when you're looking at this. Otherwise, everything else I've mentioned, very minor kind of gripes. So do I recommend this? I think it all depends on what you're looking for. If you're a beginner trying to get your feet wet in the hobby, you don't want to spend too much, you want to see what it's all about, this is perfect. If you're kind of like me, you've got a bunch of other quads, high definition DJI HD quads, this can still be beneficial. So right now being winter time, I actually enjoy flying this in the basement, kind of low impact, low risk kind of situation. So I will continue flying this, and I may have to get something like this for myself with my current controller and everything, so I can fly it in the basement here. But otherwise, yes, I highly recommend this, and definitely something that you should look to pick up if you're thinking about the hobby and looking to get into this. So again, if you're interested in this, make sure you use my link in the description from Banggood. Definitely appreciate you using that link to purchase this.